I'm for assisted suicide. 100%.
Hello?
Bonjour.
Bonjour.
Morning, you're on Swap Shop, you're on the air.
Oh, you just decided to give me the notification for your video last time.
Yeah.
It doesn't do that 90% of the time.
That's right. We got something here called Swap Shop on Thursday mornings, where people call up the radio station and try to sell crap that they don't want anymore.
Where you said?
I said we have something here in Nebraska called Swap Shop. It's a radio show on Thursday mornings where you can call them up and let them know what junk you got that you want to get rid of, and you give them your number and people call you up and say, hey, you know that junk you wanted to throw away? I want it.
Oh, that's kind of nice.
Yeah.
Recycle, I guess?
Basically.
My dog just tried to piss on a car. So, there you go.
It's daylight there, isn't it?
Pardon?
It's daylight there, isn't it?
Yeah. Sunny as fuck here.
It's like 2 a.m. here.
It's 8:45 here.
In the morning or at night?
In the morning. I mean, it wouldn't be sunny otherwise.
I guess that's true. It is kind of late in the year, and we're in the northern hemisphere. When I was younger, I was pretty certain that it got dark here probably around 9:15 or so. And this entire summer, I think it's been dark by 8 o'clock every single night.
Oh, that's not different. We have the opposite problem here, where, like, in the summer, it's daylight all the time. It's like 8:30, ready to sleep, and it's fucking sunny. Sun, go away. Oh, that's are they? My dog said 2 big huskies.
I love huskies. I just love dogs.
You love dogs?
I do.
Oh.
My ideal bed is 2 St. Bernards and a Yorkie for my feet. Summertime, I'll watch the Yorkie and use it as a pillow.
I wish my dog was more like affectionate, I guess. He's like a kind of dog who like jumps up, cuddles with you, and then's like, fuck off. Gotta go do my own thing now.
Yeah, he probably cuddles for 5 minutes or less, I'm assuming.
Yeah.
Probably closer
I guess
to a
because it
minute.
gets too hot.
It could be. It could be. I know a lot of people who have dogs like that. Most of them are not people. They're kind of detached from humanity. So their dogs kind of get that way too.
I can kind of understand that. I like a good healthy mix of both.
Yeah. You know, a lot of times people, they don't see their dog as a living creature the way that they would themselves, because dogs exist to love these humans when these humans want to be loved, and to leave the humans alone when the human wants to be left alone. What about what the dog wants? What about when the dog wants the love and you're like, I'm not in the mood, you need to go away?
Yeah.
Yep.
I am a little bit of the opposite. I'm like, I probably overwhelm my dog.
It's
I'm
easy
always-
to do. They can tell what your emotions are.
I think dogs go off your voice.
In part,
Very
they
minimal
can
amounts
smell
of
you too.
your face.
They can smell your emotions because your emotions are chemical inductions. Your body produces those chemicals, and then your dog can smell them. When you're afraid of
Stress hormone?
somebody, yep. When you're afraid of somebody, your dog can tell because he can smell. There's a lot of people I know that they have racist dogs. And I try to explain to them there's no such thing as a racist dog. That dog is reacting to your emotions. You are scared of black people. Your dog is not reacting like that because he hates black people. He's reacting like that because you are afraid of them and he's trying to protect you.
People are very afraid of them now.
People are
As in
stupid.
people who might have grown up not seeing many people of color.
Yeah, that's Chapel, Nebraska here. Matter of fact, I've seen more black people in Chapel, Nebraska this summer than I've seen in 20 years. I mean, don't get me
Chapel,
wrong.
Nebraska, like a
Do what?
popular. Is Chapel, Nebraska, like a popular? It's hot go there place.
A popular what?
Is it like a popular place people go when it's just fucking roasted, like summer?
No, this isn't a popular place even for people who live here.
Oh jeez.
Yeah, people live here because it's cheap.
Just so are they just passing through that?
The black folks, yeah. But
Where they're
there's
coming from?
all over the place. There's a pretty big migration going on right now, but it's also weird because like you see kids stopping in the middle of the road to stare, and we have the Catholic priest, I guess, in this town is a black fella. So I don't know. It's kind of weird because half the people in town that I talk to, they're like, we got a black preacher. It's not really all that racist here, Sean. It's not as racist as you're trying to let on to believe. And then there's the other half that are just fucking blatantly racist. Like, yeah, that black preacher, this, that, and the other, and a whole bunch of stuff that I'm just not going to repeat because it'll get me Facebook banned or YouTube banned. Like, it's really
like
not that
staring might not be as
racist.
bad as some people put it through.
Do what?
Especially if it comes. I said that people that staring isn't as bad as it seems. It is, especially if it comes from a child.
Well, with the children, it's a sense of shock. They ain't used to seeing black folks.
Yeah.
But the other
I'm
thing
sure
is,
if you had a small black child who had never seen a white person before, and you you showed them a white person, they'd have a similar reaction.
yeah. And see, neurotypical kids don't think about stuff like that. Through everything that's gone on, people keep telling me, you need to look at their perspective. You need to look at their perspective. Shit, I have looked at everyone's perspective. Nobody's bothered to look at mine.
Sorry, I'm still tired. I had any coffee.
It sounded like you were typing. I figured maybe you got a hold of Mohag.
No, I'm walking the dog.
Yeah. That's right.
Is Mohag he or she?
Mohag is a he.
Right, okay. I've just been saying they, and they is kind of rude. Especially if you're addressing the person.
It's kind of put-offing because, it's Mohag moo cow, and cows are female, so that is a valid question.
it's very like a. To me, anyway, it seems like a gender neutral name.
Yep. Could be.
Are they? I got up at 4 a.m. Have you
Coding
slept
all
yet?
night again?
I said I got up at 4 a.m.
Oh, I thought you said you were up until 4 a.m.
No, I fell on, passed out. As soon as I got off.
You see how much less stressful this is than trying to type it?
It is a lot less stressful. That's why I kept telling you, call. When I'm typing to people, I feel like I just don't get to know them at all. Like, very little progress is made in knowing a person by texting them.
Right. And then I got a bunch of idiots who just can't quite understand that. Meanwhile, they're taking a bunch of shit wrong because it's all in texting. I've had to deal with so many fucking idiots. Oh my god, dude. Like, I seriously just want to blow my head off in front of all of them at every point in time.
People not understanding texting, or people just bad at communicating?
People just being assholes. I mean, I basically,
Oh,
I don't have anybody to hang out with. I don't have any actual friends.
shit, I wish I had more in common with you. I'd be able to hold a better conversation. Again, I guess that's like how you develop relationships with people.
I got one guy in the town that, well, he wants to hang out with me once in a great while. And it doesn't usually depend on his alcohol intake. It always depends on his alcohol intake.
Just as what? As alcohol?
Yeah. So when he's drunk, he gets stuck on repeat, just like Shannon Alvarado, just like Teresa Orr, just like a lot of people. That's the thing. Is that we're supposed to have services to help out people who are disabled and victimized. But those services don't actually exist. You have to be able to do things that you're not able to do in order to get the help that you need because you're not able to do those things. Cars.
Oh my god, I live in a relatively small neighborhood, but so many cars pass through here because there's a bus station right next to the heads.
And I don't mind you coming here and wasting all my time. Cause when you're standing so near, I kinda lose my mind, yeah. And I don't mind you hanging out, talking in your sleep. Isn't that the Cars?
What?
Isn't that the Cars that sing that?
Oh, are you talking about like Lightning McQueen? Oh, no? Are we talking about two completely different things?
Lightning McQueen is a car.
Yeah. Is that what you're referring to?
Nope. I'm referring to a band called the Cars.
I have no idea what you're talking about. You said Cars, I thought Kids Cartoon.
The Cars, it's a band from probably my dad's era. The Cars and Rush. Rush's most popular song is called Tom Sawyer, but my favorite one is called A Passage to Bangkok.
Oh. Should send me anything if you want me to listen to it.
Actually, I'll look it up right now. We're on the train to Bangkok, aboard the Thailand Express. We'll hit the stops along the way. We'll only stop for the best.
I'd like to sing
used to be a decent singer, but not anymore.
No. You are a decent singer.
All right, well, I used to be a better singer, I should say. Decent is better
No,
than
that happens
shit,
with
though,
age. I'll accept it.
right? I don't mind blaming it on age. Although, really, it's not my age's fault. It's my choices. I chose to smoke cigarettes. Of course, I started smoking cigarettes because I wanted a girl to leave me alone. How screwed up is that? All right, we'll go for
You started smoking cigarettes for what?
Well, there was a girl I went to school with, and she was dating a sheriff's son from Haxton, Colorado. And he yanked her out of a vehicle by her hair one day. And I didn't like him after that, obviously. The cars.
So,
Baby, you're just what I need.
me.
All right, this one, the first one that I was singing was just what I needed. I think it was, yeah. I don't mind you coming here and wasting all my time. Yeah, that's just what I needed. I'm gonna send you the link to that one. There you go. And then the other one, I'll probably, oh, they also did Let the Good Times Roll. The Cars did a lot of different kind of music. It's a lot more soft than most of the time, or most bands of the time. Rush. Oh my God, Rush 2112, A Passage to Bangkok, very top. All right.
Maybe one day I'll be able to understand even a quarter of the pop culture references you make.
Well, they're just common words. I mean, what do you name a band? If you want to name a band Pig Sticker, well, there are going to be people who are confused because a pig sticker is a type of knife.
That's true. I don't. I listen to these now. I think it might pick you on me.
That's okay. It won't kill me. I'm going to see if
I want to continue to talk to yourself.
do what?
So I want to continue to talk to yourself. Just because I don't get a whole lot to tell you, you know.
Well, you don't have to listen to them songs right now. That's for certain. There's
I want to go through
the most. Do what?
Or the bands, I mean. I said I want to go through the bands. Listen to other music by them.
I'm pretty sure they have Tom Sawyer. Tom Sawyer's another famous song from Rush. They're both on the album 2112, but I think they're both on the greatest hits as well. The A Passage to Bangkok might not be. I don't know if it was one of their really big hits, but it's my favorite song. Although a lot of the stuff that I listen to is
anything is killer when you don't like the big hits.
Do what?
Or at least nowadays, anyway. It doesn't need to be a big hit. If anything is killer when you like the non-bigger music by certain bands.
I'm pretty eclectic as far as my musical taste goes. I know a lot of people pretty well get stuck in a very specific genre because they're taught to hate certain things, and then they get stuck in it. Like, you got 40-year-olds who are like, man, I can't stand that rap. It's just a bunch of talking. I'm like, yeah, most rap is crap. I'll agree with that, but not all of it. I ain't mad at you, ain't that? It's got some R&B in it. Ruby, apparently she's singing a song called Superficial Love. Maybe I'll listen to that at some point.
Uh-oh.
What?
Took off the leash.
Alright, now this one right here, this is a guilty pleasure. I listen to it because it pisses me off. I think it's the accent, though.
Is it a song by Nicki Minaj? Oh, I like that. I like that. I quite like that.
You dork.
There are much worse things you could listen to.
That's
I'll
right.
send you, what is it, Super Bass by Nicki Minaj? I don't know. It's god awful, but it's so tacky. Kinda catchy though.
I got another one for you here. There's a few songs by Hollywood Undead I like too. I put my trust in you.
It's interesting to see like a wide variety of music. Most people I know are like, I like this one person or band, and I love everything they make, whether it's shit or not, and I don't listen to anything else. And I think, God, I don't want to be good.
Well, there was somebody who was trying to talk to me, but I was busy on another link. So even though I've got the live stream going, I was ignoring this lady. She typed, her name is Audrey May. Typed, "Hi, you okay?" And then she typed, "My dog is my best friend."
So on YouTube?
Yep. She typed, "He sleeps next to me because he wants to." And then she typed, "Very true. If I cry, my dog comes to comfort me and even tries to lick my tears." And then she typed, "Okay, bye," and put the peace symbol up, which is pretty cool. Of course, I guess that depends on what country you're in. I've been told that in other countries it means go fuck yourself, but yeah.
That's the other way. Has nobody ever gave you the two fingers the other way about?
Oh, you mean backwards?
Is that,
I've had
like
people
big
do
peace
that with
and
their
then
tongue
turn
in
around?
between them.
You what?
I said I've had people do that with their tongue in between them. All right, dude. This isn't really something that I want to do on YouTube, but if you're watching the channel, yeah, this is the peace symbol. This is the backwards thing, and this is what people in Nebraska do. It's just fucking weird.
So, if you make the peace symbol, and then remove it from your bag, and then stick it out in front of your face, that means go fuck yourself. I'm surprised that's not like a universal thing.
Yeah, it's unfortunate that we have to learn curse words in different languages so that people who speak different languages can understand when we're pissed off at them. I think everybody should speak English, but not English because those people talk weird. And not Southern English because those people talk weird. And definitely not Scottish English because those people have really thick accents and they're difficult to understand.
To be fair, if you spoke Scottish English, we speak very, 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 very fast. We merge sentences together.
Yeah, you merge words
If you
together
spoke
too.
like that, it would be very efficient. You get loads done.
Well, here in the US, we got some folks who speak pretty quick. But the other thing is, if you speak slowly and concisely so that people understand you, then people think that you're either being condescending or that you assume that they're stupid, or maybe you're stupid because you have to talk slow. I know that
Never heard of that.
a lot of people in the North, the biggest gripe that they have about the Southern accent isn't the fact that it's difficult to understand. It's the fact that it's so incredibly slow.
I don't. What accent do you have?
I have a Midwest accent, but my accent isn't real.
Or is it like a copycat accent that you stuck with?
No. My accent depends on where I'm at regionally. I grew up with a lot of different influences in a lot of different places. So depending on who I'm hanging out with and how they're talking, I do what's called chameleon. You might know it as mimic. Custody issues and so on.
I see.
Yeah. So I got to live a little bit in, like, before you turn 3, that's when you learn most of your alternate language skills. Like your ability to pronounce foreign languages. If you don't hear French until you're 15, and then you start trying to learn French, you're going to have a lot more issues than if you were 2 years old and had a French nanny for 6 months and then she left. You don't even remember the French nanny, but then again, the fact that she spoke French at you means that you are able to phonically arrange it easier than somebody who didn't hear French till they were 15.
I think for French you need to do like a lot of speaking in the back of your throat to get like sounds out. Do you know what I mean?
Bonjour, je m'appelle Geneviève Noir, et toi?
I have no idea what you just said.
Hello, my name is John David Black, and you?
Who's John David?
Well, Sean is a variant of the name John. David is my middle name, and Schwartz means black in German. But not black the color, but black as in black skin, black hair, black eyes.
That's fucking confusing.
It is, but my family were basically Jewish blacksmiths.
Oh. I don't understand.
You don't understand how medieval surnames came about or how they've stuck around till modern day? You ever met anybody with the last name Fletcher?
No.
Well, if someone's last name is Fletcher, then one of their ancestors used to make arrows.
Oh. It's interesting.
Yep, if their last name is Boyer, that's what a surname is. It was your first name and then your job skill. And the reason that your children ended up with the same last name as you is because they would intern with you and take over the family business. And that was not only expected, it was punishable if you didn't.
That makes sense then.
Yep, you're supposed to honor thy father and honor thy mother, and if you come from a line of blacksmiths and choose not to be a blacksmith, then you are basically spitting on your family name. I'm too good to be a blacksmith. Now, the last name Smith is very generic.
Said I changed my name, so I did that.
I'm trying to think of popular British last names you might know that's from back in the day, because Boyer is a pretty common name. Not so much anymore, but Boyer or Bowyer, they make bows. Fletcher, people who made the fletchings for the arrows, which is the part at the back. Smith, of course, could be a smith of any sort.
How many are there, though? Is there like a long list?
It actually is a pretty long list. A lot of Welsh people will have the last name of Bowyer, Archer, Fletcher. I don't know how much you know about Welsh history, but the Welsh, they were the greatest longbowmen on earth for about 400 years.
Should send me stuff.
I can do that. Might even send pictures of the Mary Rose bows. Not sure if you're familiar with the Mary Rose.
No idea, but I want to learn.
All right. Well, I'll put a link to that too.
I love the fairly typical sheltered lifestyle, I guess, where like connections are more important than what you know.
Yep.
You know what I mean? So
it doesn't matter what you know, it matters who you know.
So money's easy, but everything else in between that's kind of not good. Inadequate. Very, very inadequate.
The remnants of the Mary Rose undergoing conservation in Portsmouth, England, sank in battle in 1545, raised in 1982, museum ship. Although really it's not that great of a museum ship. I mean, for its day and where it sank, it's actually in excellent condition. But if you look at ships like the Royal Vasa or the Oslo ship or things like that, there's a link to Wikipedia for the Mary Rose. However, I'm going to type in the Royal Vasa. This is actually the Royal Vasa. This is actually the ship. All of the ships on Pirates of the Caribbean are based off of. All of the pirate ships, anyway. The Vasa sank within about 20 minutes of being launched. And the best way to look at it, I'm just sending you the YouTube stuff, but the best stuff is actually on YouTube. This is the Wikipedia thing. But it's in Sweden. And then there's also the Oslo ship. See.
Shit, my fingers are frozen.
All right, this is the Viking Ship Museum in Oslo. I thought Oslo was in Norway. Oh, it is good. Because it said Oslo, Sweden, but then I clicked on the Wikipedia link and it says Oslo, Norway. Weird.
Maybe Sweden pronunciation? It's my only guess.
Might also be regional boundaries that have changed. Perhaps this is a part of Sweden at the time that it was made, later became part of Norway. But the Oslo ship is pretty cool too.
What do you mean later became part of Norway?
Well,
like,
all right.
History claiming?
Well, all right. For example, most of northern France for nearly 200 years was English. not just, English people, but English speaking, English ran, English owned property of the English monarchy. But through a lot of different wars, the War of the Roses being one of them, Queen Anne's War, and a lot of other wars of attrition basically beat the British back to their own islands. And so they have different borders, of course. England does not have the same borders that they had in World War II because, well, 90% of all y'all's colonies disappeared all at once. But lucky for the British Isles, most of those places are still willing to trade with England. They just don't want to be owned by England anymore.
Seems so.
And of course, the British were a lot more intelligent about it and a lot nicer about it than the French were. The French, after World War II, tried to regain their imperialism, and, well, they got fucked up everywhere. They got fucked up in the Philippines. They got fucked up in Vietnam. French just got real good at getting their asses kicked.
Jesus Christ.
No, I just look like him. And not the real Jesus either. I look like the racist white Jesus. Now, that's probably not fair to say because the guy who is painted as Jesus is actually the son of a pope. And I don't think it is right or proper to blame that man for what his father did.
That's a heavy issue.
No, he was trying to turn the papacy into a dynasty. And that's why he had his son painted as Jesus. Right? Meanwhile, apparently his son was quite the loafer.
Have you seen what they call monkey Jesus? Like the lady who painted over like a very expensive, very old. She tried like a DIY restoration of like a religious painting. It didn't go well. Let me send you it. Oh, there we go. There's a nice before and after. God. I don't even want to know how much money she just painted over.
You know, I was over hanging out with pretty much the only person in town who hangs out with me. And he was so drunk he was on repeat. And last night was the same way. Pretty much the only time he ever calls me is when he's drunk. I tried explaining to him how much that hurts. But also, like, I tried to be tactful about it. Of course, my tactfulness is blunt. Every time he said something within 30 seconds of having already said it, I let him know that he had already said it. And all of his stories, he tells the same stories over and over again every time we get together. And so last night I finished like 6 or 7 of his stories for him.
Jesus Christ.
Yeah, I think he kind of got it.
I think the only good type of drunk is the kind of drunk that sings and then passes out.
Well, if you're talking about singing like a canary, then yeah, he sings.
Oh.
At least 5 of the conversations that we've had, if I had recorded them, people would be on their way to prison. So,
Oh jeez.
yeah.
I just stick a guitar in his hand. Say shop. Don't do that.
A lot of the
That works for most people.
stuff that I noticed about autistic folks, most autistic folks, is that they don't have any tolerance for neurotypical bullshit.
Yeah.
They are tired of it. They're more intelligent than that, so they don't believe that stupid, ignorant crap. But also, like, there's the labels and the assumptions that people have that we're retarded. And that's very tough to get past. It's kind of like we got a lot of racist assholes here that want to pretend that all black people are on welfare and all black people are out for a free ride and all black people are out stealing your stuff. But I know lots of black folks have never done any of that shit. Never did drugs.
I think I usually find that people who say that usually don't have anything worth stealing.
Well, that could be true. I mean,
At
really,
least that's my experience.
the only things that actually belong to you are your thoughts, feelings, and opinions. Everything else can be taken.
Yeah.
You may think your hand belongs to you, but when it's cut off, it's gone forever.
Hooray, government.
Yay.
Ew, I can hear myself.
Echoing? Oh, you got the live stream on while you're talking to me.
So I can hear you through the phone.
All right.
Or hear me.
That's just weird. No, I'm not trying to call you weird. Although I do think you're weird. That's probably 90% of the reason I talk to you.
I am very weird. I spend most of my time getting to know people by just learning, I guess. There comes a point where I'm like really confident and annoying someone. But that's the dead part. The more I know you, the better I know how to. And then probably the more that I'm going to do it.
Well, I'm pretty proud of myself for being able to annoy people in the proficient fashion that I do. People were dumb enough to think that after years and years and years of standing up for other people's rights and fighting for other victims and defending other victims, these idiots somehow got it in their ignorant heads that I was just going to lay down and take it when they did it to me. No. No. What, you think I'll fight for other people's rights, but I'm too much of a coward to fight for my own rights? Oh, hell no. I just know that when it's just you, you're pretty well fucked. And
I
that's the
don't
thing with
understand
most
people and their bold thought patterns.
When they're what?
That I don't understand people and their bold thought patterns. Or how people come to assumptions. I only know what I've been told. I don't think I could even assume something about you, like, on the spot right now.
Well, you could. You could assume the worst in me. You could make a conscious decision to assume the worst in me. And then use your imagination. Let your imagination run wild. Let's say you're a paranoid person. Let's say you're a paranoid person, right? Let's say, for example, you might be afraid of spiders, right? So I could use those spiders to exploit you.
I don't know. Explain.
Well, knowledge is power. And the more people know, the more powerful they are. The more you keep them in the dark, the more easy they are to control. Also, there's the fear factor. If you're afraid of spiders, and you tell me that you're afraid of spiders, and I dangle spiders in your face every time I see you, we're not friends. I'm an asshole.
You would be.
Right.
If I was afraid of spider, I'd probably hit you in the face.
Right. I brought a garter snake into the house when I was, I want to say, 7 or so. And my mom was afraid of snakes. I was home on home leave. I think this was probably the home leave right before me and Eric were going to kill him. He beat up my mom, so me and Eric, we spent a few hours trying to find Larry's gun. We knew that he kept it on top of the China hutch, but we weren't tall enough to get up there. But we was tired of him beating on our mom, so we were going to kill him. And I was like, I think I was actually 6. I think that was right in between the foster home in Erie and Centennial Peaks Mental Hospital. Well, that's it.
I thought the snake was going to come into play at some point.
Yeah, it was gonna, but my mom's afraid of snakes, and when I brought in the snake, she wanted to slap the snake, and of course she smacked me so hard in the hand that I smacked myself in the face with a snake.
Jesus Christ.
Nope, it just looked like him.
Snakes are bad.
I think we should try to be multicultural and call him Jesus Christos.
Is that a real name?
Well, that depends. If you're speaking a colloquial Latin language, then Jesus Christ has quite a few different variants. Now, English is a combination of colloquial Latin and highborn German, and French is a combination of Lower German and colloquial Latin, and Spanish is a combination of colloquial Latin and actually quite a bit of Muslim influence there too. So,
which a lot of people will deny.
Yeah. Well, when the Muslims took over Spain, that's because at the time the Spanish were some real bastards, and they were real heavily involved in crusades and shit like that. So the Muslims at the time got sick of that and said, all right, well, you guys are gonna leave us alone. This is your last chance, and if you don't, we're gonna take over your country. So they ended up taking over a good portion of Spain. And that was literally in Spain's history, that was the most free Spain had ever been. They were allowed to practice religious freedom. You were allowed to be Protestant. You were allowed to be Catholic. You were allowed to be Muslim. You were allowed to go and do your trade. If you were a carpet weaver, you didn't have to stop being a carpet weaver because there was a regime change. The Muslims who took over basically told all the Spaniards at the time, hey, we're not here to hurt you. You guys go ahead and do your thing. We don't have an issue with you. We got an issue with the royals. And they're a royal pain in your ass too. So I'll tell you what, you guys go about your business and we'll leave you alone. We won't hurt you. We're not going to tax you. We're not going to tell you that you can't practice your own religion. A lot of people don't want to remember that part. They don't want to remember any of those parts in history. Most of what we hear in the United States is about how Muslims worldwide are persecuting Christians. And they're not.
A lot of history is like slated and then built from the ground up to be the most beautiful that it can be.
You know, it'd be nice if we lived in a world like that. It'd be nice if I could.
That was realistic.
You know, all of the most Christ-like people that I know are atheists.
I'm not so sure I believe in religion of any sort.
I think religion
Mainly
is
because
evil.
You what?
I think religion is evil. Organized religion, anyway. I mean, if
It's
you
used for politics more than it is for actual practicing or helping.
Yep. You know,
Creates rules around people's life.
that's something that is taught to the FBI, the CIA, and police officers America-wide. That one way that you can tell if somebody is lying is that they want to bring Jesus into it. That is one of the most. It's one of the most effective.
Logic tells you. Sorry. Keep speaking of.
It's one of the most effective manipulation tactics here in the United States because we have a large, highly ignorant population. Most Europeans know more about our form of government than we do. Most Europeans can name off more people in our government than we can, and believe it or not, most Europeans can name off more fucking presidents.
Really?
Yeah.
There's like recent thing I learned is that what was it? Pentagon got money? 100,000, a million, a billion? 21 billion?
The Pentagon did what?
Was that recently the Pentagon got 21 billion? Or got more funding?
I'm not sure. You know, most of my opinions don't actually come from watching the news. My opinions come from watching the American public. You can better judge what the hell's going on by listening to people's opinions than you can by looking at the news. Because people's opinions are going to show you how the general public is going to react to certain things. If you notice that a certain person has a popular opinion, they state their opinion, and even if it's wrong, well, let's say it's a pretty girl, for example, and she has an opinion that's completely fucked up, but she's pretty, so people want to, be around her. They want her to like them, so they change themselves into somebody that they're not because they want a pretty person to like them. So now they're adopting opinions that they don't even have. But then you also know that even though that's not their opinion, if there's an argument, that person is going to be on that pretty person's side. And you're right, that picture looks like the ass end of a weak dead water buffalo.
Looks are worth going for.
He does kind of look like a marmoset.
Oh, this article says Defense News, July 23rd. 21 billion for defense reportedly included in COVID aid proposal.
21 billion defense. Yeah,
Defense.
we, the people, need defended. We need to be able to defend ourselves from rotten cops, rotten courts, rotten judges, and rotten politicians. The thing is that I'm not sure if you've been paying attention to the whole Epstein thing at all, but the United States is run by pedophiles. And, well, when you're in power, anybody who has the power to investigate you, when you're the president, you basically get to put them into their position. You get to decide who it is that's going to be in those positions. Now, if you're a child molester, are you going to put somebody into that office who really hates child molesters and is going to pursue them to the end of the earth? Or are you, as a child molester, going to want to put a child molester there so that, well, he's too paranoid to do anything?
Yeah.
You're probably going to pull.
How easy it is to get around things like that. Like, you'd only need to hire someone who was accused, and if you kept hiring people accused of it but never convicted, you would eventually get some.
Oh, it'd be nice to be able to hire people like that, wouldn't it?
that's what they use to hire people who are dodgy as fuck.
Well, I
Like,
can
disregard. That's
the biggest issue that we have in the United States is that they'll manufacture it for you. If it doesn't fit the police's bullshit, they'll manufacture bullshit. When I was in Rawlins, Wyoming, they tried to keep me there by claiming that I had a long history of, well, they named off a whole fucking list of shit. Some of it, like 1983, I wasn't born until October of 1980. So it's the very end of 1980. And apparently in 1983, I got in trouble for shoplifting. And then they went through the whole list of things. Yeah. Well, that's the thing, is that they went through all of that and tried to pretend that I was some other dude who has these things going on. Or they just straight up made it up, which cops do that all the time. They're allowed to. That's part of their prerogative when they don't have to wear body cameras, or they can turn them off whenever they want. With a lot of the issues, do what?
So they definitely mixed up records deliberately there.
I am getting better at understanding your accent, but some words just. Oh.
Am I speaking too fast? Oh no.
Well, it might be that you're just not enunciating well enough, but it also might be the fact that the phone kind of distorts it a little bit. Right now, I'm looking at
It's probably me.
Right now, I'm looking in a group that I'm in called Court Victims United. There's a guy who goes by LUIS EWING, Lewis Ewing. And this guy, he's been pretending that he's in 3 different groups like this. These are people who have had their kids taken by CPS, and at least 11 people who post on here frequently have children who are dead because of it. So this guy right here and the other 2 groups, I blocked him in them because he was trying to scam these parents, these people who are in this desperate situation, and he's trying to take advantage of them to get money. He comes on here and advertises that he fights for people's rights and he wins all these cases and so on and so forth. But then all he does is ask for money, 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 money. I need money to do this and I need money to do that. Like, yeah, you know, it does take money to do this.
You could get away with doing as a lawyer.
No, I wouldn't. I know how little my lawyers did. Matter of fact, my lawyers, I can't call any of my public pretenders public defenders because they're not. The very same public defenders that I had in Arapahoe County, well, I shared those lawyers with the other inmates, obviously, and they have like 7 lawyers to go around, and there's almost like 2,200 inmates or more at any one point in time there. Some of the other guys that I had, they told me that, dude, I've had Pamela Cardi. I've also been here for 7 months. Another guy was telling me that he had Pamela Cardi and he had been there for 5 months. And I said how lucky that I was a white guy because I was getting to go to court. I'm like, well, you know what? They're only doing that to appease the masses and pretend like they're doing what they're supposed to. And I'm going to speak out for you guys when I get out because what's happening to you guys is fucked. The only reason they're giving me the time of day is because this shit with Natalie was all over the goddamn news worldwide. If they can't hide their crimes, well, then they have to make sure that people don't listen to me. And the best way to do that is to discredit me. If they discredit me by calling me mentally ill, then nobody gives a fuck about the Constitution. They just assume that I deserve it. And then I get victimized to the point where I literally am forced to break the law in order to try to get these goddamn cops to take a look. I don't want to hang out with any more drunks. I don't want to hang out with any more alcoholics. You know, but having somebody who gives a shit about me and having to go to go to drug addicts' houses, I already know that my parents both chose their drugs over their kids. I don't want to be around druggies. I don't want to be around alcoholics. But at the same time, they're still human beings. And I'm not going to let them fucking freeze to death.
Well, I don't do any of that, so if I come over there, you don't need to worry about it.
I got a friend of
You
mine.
smoke though, so I will cough a lot.
Do what?
What? I said you smoke though, so I'll cough a lot.
I only smoke outside or in my trailer. I don't smoke in my apartment.
Oh, that'll be good then.
Yeah.
My grandparent, or my... I'm trying to think of... the right way to say that. See, if I say the word Nana, does that mean anything to you?
Nana?
Yeah.
Either short for banana or you're talking about your grandma.
Alright, okay, there we go. So, my Nana used to smoke outside, and, I loved her, but I couldn't stand that shit. Smoke outside. Please, for the love of God.
Right?
I'm really sensitive to this shit for some reason.
I grew up with ear infections and stuff like that. Every time that I'd go home on leave, I'd come back with an ear infection and a throat infection and all sorts of other stuff. So I get that. I won't smoke in an enclosed environment with kids there. Doesn't matter if it's a car or a house or an apartment or whatever. I'll go outside. When I was a kid, I had ear infections that were so bad they gave me migraines, and there's a big difference between having a migraine and just having a really bad headache. When you got a really bad headache, you're like, oh, I wish I was fucking dead. But when you have a migraine, it's, oh my God, how can I kill myself? How can I kill myself? Oh my God, please fucking make it stop. Kill me, please, please, please.
I get migraines very frequently.
Oh God, I'm sorry.
Apparently there is nothing you can do about it, apart from just take a shit ton of pills, but I don't know.
Or you can take a nasal stimulant, like Stadol. They also have shots that they can give you. A lot of people who are addicted to cocaine end up using Stadol because they're addicted to snorting.
Oh. Well. That doesn't seem useful.
Well, it's the fact that you got capillaries going into your brain that are inside of your nose. And you've got different foramen in your body that you have veins to go through. And where those veins go through, sometimes there's a lot of the smaller veins that are coming off, like in your nose. It's not just one big vein, it's also a whole bunch of little tiny ones that are all interspersed with your nerve endings, and that's part of what helps you to develop your sense of smell. Although it really does go a lot further into it. Yeah. See, this is something that I miss everywhere that I go, is conversations where I'm allowed to speak. You know, I need help in person, but at the same time, I can't trust alcoholics to keep their word. That's why there are supposed to be people whose job is to defend me from predators because I can't defend myself. But they don't observe that. It doesn't matter what the law says if it's not observed. If the law says that it's illegal to own slaves, but nobody cares, then yeah, people are going to own slaves and nobody's going to do anything about it. And that's kind of what we're doing.
People won't let you speak.
That's right. They don't let you speak.
I mean, in like conversation.
Well, One thing that's pretty common among most people is that they love to talk about themselves. Doesn't matter who it is.
I avoid doing that.
I used to, but the other thing is that my experiences can help people and they can help to change laws, but only if those officers and the lawyers and the public take it seriously. The laws that should have been changed, I don't know how many of the recent deaths in Colorado that you're aware of, but in the very beginning of January of 2018, I was assaulted by Waylon Lolatai, and I tried to turn them in, but because they refused to do their jobs by giving me the mentally ill treatment, which is how all homeless people are treated in Boulder. You're not a human being. I don't even remember the moral of the story.
You've posted a few videos of police. Can you describe the situation?
Yeah.
Be able to remember what you're talking about?
Well, there's literally hundreds of those situations. I mean, they just kept on taking me to the hospital to have me drugged every fucking time. Like, I'm trying to turn in bad police officers and I'm trying to turn in my predators, and y'all are ignoring all of the predators because I'm trying to turn in the police who took part in it.
I saw the hospital one, and then there's another one.
Tibor Hatay, he's dead because the police didn't listen. And there's another woman who is a Clearview who is dead because the police wouldn't listen. Elijah McClain, his life would have or could have been saved had the cops listened to me and done their jobs. Natalie Bollinger would still be alive if the police had actually done their jobs. And when I say their jobs, I mean that, because the things that the police told me that they couldn't do, they did all of those things for the Bollinger family. It's been a goddamn it's been a popularity contest since day one. I saw a woman today named Ashley Woodman. She's a fucking fat cunt. And yeah, she's also a large woman, but when I say she's a fat cunt, I'm not talking about her size. I'm talking about the fact that she's a player. The shit that she had to say to me versus the shit that she had to say about me did not match up. But it's a popularity contest.
I said this to you. I hate two-faced people.
You know, I hate it too, but when it got to the point where I had to, you know, I stuck up for a lot of other people's rights. I don't know what the fuck gave these people the idea that I wasn't going to stick up for my own.
I was implying you were two-faced.
Implying what?
I caught myself merging everything together there. I noticed this thing.
Yeah, that's...
So I wasn't implying you were two-faced.
That's both an autistic and an OCD trait. The merging sentences.
Probably a lot of the OCD.
The more stressed you are or the more excited you are, the more likely you are to derail. And that's what happens. Most neurotypicals, basically, if you think about it as a rail yard, if a neurotypical is a one-way track, it only goes one way. They've only got one train of thought at any point in time. That's all the thoughts they can focus on at one point in time. But when you get someone who's highly intelligent with, well, the brain of a highly functioning autistic person, we're talking about a pristine machine. We're talking about the difference between a Volkswagen Beetle and a Maserati. So for the autistic mind, it's not one train going in one direction. It's a full-on rail yard. The largest rail yard in the United States is in North Platte, Nebraska. And
I understand that analogy.
yeah, it's huge. That's the autistic brain. There's a lot of organization going on, and one little slip up, and you've got two trains that are going to collide with each other. Now, the more people that you have distracting you, the more likely it is that those two trains are going to be colliding with each other, because the less you're paying attention. So when it comes to communication, when you've got that many trains going on at once, you need to be able to concentrate on everything that's going on and be able to do so in a calm fashion and not be afraid of being victimized for speaking. Because the moment that that starts happening, well, that's when you get a derailment. And that's where you've got half of one sentence that comes out of your mouth and the other half is a different sentence altogether. And then people are like, dude, you're lying to me. No, actually, I'm not. I got 5 different related situations that I'm trying to relay all at once, and I'm not even able to finish one of them in most cases. A lot of times people, when I'm making these videos, they type in the side of it, and like right now, I don't even have even though it's live streaming, I don't even have it up. So I can't read right now if people are typing to me or not, because I don't want to lose my train of thought.
Saying that there's also a lot of extra stimuli, I guess.
The cars.
Like an overhead plane.
Yep.
Dog barking.
Yep.
My own dog standing at the gate.
Yep. And that's all stuff that, for a lot of people, it may not be overwhelming, but they're not gathering as much information at one point in time. Like for me, yeah. I have the entire thing that I went through, that I relive every bit of it. And people don't understand that the reason that I live every bit of it is because I don't get to see my loved ones. I haven't been able to for 4 years. When I do, they don't have time. They've got time for getting fucked up on drugs or selling drugs, or they got time for smoking weed, or they got time for getting drunk, or time for all of this shit, but they don't have time to keep their word. And then when I say, hey, I was dependent on you to keep your word, I invested everything that I had to come here. I invested my money that I had so that I could pay rent here. I'm really trying here, and y'all made promises and you didn't keep your word, and I need you to keep your word. And then these people wanted to play victim later on when I called them out. You know what? You wasted my time. You wasted my resources. No, Sean, that's not how it is. No, actually, it is how it is. And there's different people who did different stuff, and some of them did it on purpose, and some of them didn't. What Ken and Leah did to me, they were intentionally predatory towards me. What they did was intentional. With Tabitha Michelle Cook, she didn't do it intentionally. She didn't realize that her new boyfriend was a dumb bitch. And her last boyfriend, she was with him for 10 years, He was an alcoholic, and he wasn't very nice. Well, I was going to say he wasn't very nice to her kids, but he wasn't nice to anybody in the household who was female.
Was he a pretty alcoholic? Pretty?
No, he's a bitch. Straight up, he's a fucking short little loudmouth motherfucker named Joshua Eichelberger who thinks it's okay to beat on little kids and fucking call 3-year-olds cunts.
I don't see how people can be attracted to that.
Well, this is the United States of America. We start teaching girls to be stupid at a very young age. We start off on the playground. When the boy hits the girl, instead of saying, yeah, that little motherfucker shouldn't have done what he did, we're going to go talk to his parents right fucking now. They say, oh, well, you got to understand, he only did that because he likes you. Ah, yes, he abuses you because he likes you. So now you've taught her at a very young age that abuse is how you can tell if someone loves you. They abuse you.
Oh no.
Yeah, it's stupid. But of course, we also teach people here in the United States that women are not to blame for anything. Everything in a woman's life that could possibly go wrong is a man's fault. Of course, we also tell men that anything that happens wrong in a man's life is also a man's fault. We teach sexism starting from day one here, and we got a lot of foreign folks here. You know, I know people from Great Britain, I know people from France, people from Asia, people from all over the place that, yeah, pretty much as soon as they get here and you start listening to them, you realize that
these people would be more attracted to personal influence.
looks are more important.
Personally, I don't think I've ever looked at someone and thought that I would want to date them. Like, how someone appears has never been something I've ever been interested in.
Yeah, there was a lot of girls in high school that I thought were real pretty. Like my biggest crush in high school here was Alyssa Derry. And would I ever ask her out? Fuck no, she was pretty. I know how that shit works out. She's pretty from a family in the area that's well to do. And yeah. I guess she later got married to a police officer, so she's probably been beaten a few times.
To be honest, pretty isn't really hard to find. If I'm like brutally honest with you, like there is no lack of attractive or pretty people in the world. There is, however, a lack of decent people in the world.
That is so true. There's also a lot of people who like to think of themselves as decent, but they're cowards.
In what way?
In what way? They're afraid to stand up to their own predators. That's cowardice.
Oh.
They take it out on the victims. That's cowardice.
You say not saying anything always is bad? Or something along those lines? Do you remember that? Compliance or ignorance is just as bad as crime itself.
Turning a blind eye to it. Actually, I should probably pull that up. I've got about 30 different people who actually I'm going to type this guy's name up here.
Will you tell me I can't help by speaking up? I'm not entirely sure what that entails exactly. When I look at that argument, I kind of feel a little bit bad.
Well,
because I don't exactly have a voice. You have a voice. Like, people watch you daily, and you have videos that have done pretty well on YouTube terms. I've kind of always just been like darker, I guess.
I didn't have a voice. When I left Ken and Leah's on December 26th of 2018 or 2017, like I told Ken when I was leaving that I was going to find my voice. And
you cut it there a second. You cut it there for like 2 or 3 seconds.
I said, well, on the 26th of December of 2017, when I left Ken and Leah's house, I told them I was going to find my voice and I'd be back. I figured I'd be back in a day or two. I just needed to try to get a lawyer and try to get some help because Ken and Leah stole all my money. And I had all the abuse that I was dealing with over the Natalie case, and so many people were telling me, Sean, I love you. You know, if you need any help, let me know. And I let them know. Shit, all they wanted to do was text with me.
Love's a very strong word.
It is. But when I love people, I love them. That's how it is.
Yeah. I try.
If you can turn it off, it's
It's not
not
an
loud.
autistic thing. I feel like I'm really good at desensitizing myself to people if I really need to. But also, I'm like either an on or off kind of person. Do you know what I mean?
Kind of. When I was a kid, I went through hell, so I'm sorry. I'm pretty tired here, and I'm trying to find something and have a conversation. Multitasking is not my strong suit.
Sorry.
It's all right.
I'm with.
Desmond. Let's see. Posts. And then let's see. I found it finally. Matter of fact, I'm going to share it on my YouTube as well. Although I've already shared it once. All right, it's a lot. Ryan Wilkinson Jr., Never Stay Silent. The world is a dangerous place, not because of those who do evil, but because of those who look on and do nothing. Albert Einstein. He who does not oppose evil commands it to be done. Leonardo da Vinci. What you allow, you encourage. Terry Hines Musgrove. Your silence is consent. Plato. If you are neutral in situations of injustice, you have chosen the side of the oppressor. Desmond Tutu. Silence in the face of injustice is complicity with the oppressor. Jeanette Sagan. Standing up to bullies is the hallmark of a civilized society. Robert Reich. One does not have to operate with great malice to do great harm. The absence of empathy and absence of understanding are sufficient. Charles M. Blow. I swore never to be silent whenever and wherever humans endure suffering and humiliation. We must always take sides. Neutrality helps the oppressor, never the victim. Silence encourages the tormentor, never the tormented. Elie Wiesel. There may be times when we are powerless to prevent injustice, but there must never be a time when we fail to protest it. Elie Wiesel. You think your silence on certain topics, perhaps in the face of injustice or unkindness or mean-spiritedness, causes others to reserve judgment of you. Far otherwise. Your silence utters very loud. You have no oracle to speak, no wisdom to offer, and your fellow people have learned that you cannot help them. Doth not wisdom cry, and understanding put forth her voice? We would be well to do likewise. Ralph Waldo Emerson. Our lives begin to end the day we become silent about things that matter. Martin Luther King Jr. Injustice anywhere is a threat to justice everywhere. Martin Luther King Jr.
Sean,
Yeah?
1 second, I need to do something.
Yes, sir.
I'm going to hang up. Can I call back?
Yes, sir. Sorry for going off on you. I'm going to continue reading this. I was going to inform him that Dr. Martin Luther King Jr., this is probably one of the greatest civil rights activists of all time. I mean, sure, on my list, as far as effectiveness goes, yeah, the Black Panthers did a much more effective job, and so did Malcolm X. I liked Dr. Martin Luther King Jr. because he did things peacefully. But the fact of the matter is, it was the violence by the Black community at the time that really got the ball rolling to do something about civil rights. It takes 2 to 3% of the population to stage an effective coup. Black people account for 13% of the population. So, well, hello.
Hello.
I wanted to let you know that Dr. Martin Luther King Jr., he is the 5th statue from the left on the west wing of Westminster Abbey.
Westminster Abbey?
Yes, sir.
Never heard of that before.
Well, you do know what Westminster Abbey is, I hope. Westminster Abbey, that's where every single British monarch has been coronated since 1066.
British history is confusing.
It is. The most famous church in the world is Notre Dame. Then Westminster Abbey, and then the Vatican.
How long is it, like, took you to acquire all this knowledge? My voice broke there.
I've always been interested in why people do the fucked up shit that they do. So that's one of my special interests.
I know you for at least a year or two before I be any sort of proficient in any history, though. Do keep teaching them. That's fun.
I definitely will. I like history and I like art. Those are 2 things that, well, actually, I'm good at teaching anything I'm good at. If I'm good at it, I can teach another person to do it. But if I don't know how to do it,
or learning.
Do what?
Well, I said I always like knowing things or learning.
Yeah, propensity for learning.
Mostly in my own time. So
when I was younger, I took one of them standardized tests that were real popular here in the U.S. And there was a moral to that story, but I can't remember it. I'm starting to zone out.
Shit.
Although this right here, the fact that you're not drunk and you're not on repeat, that's really helpful.
I think I've only ever drank alcohol 2 or 3 times in my life. The last time it was wine.
Oh God!
And I mixed.
Your head.
It didn't end well.
Yeah. Did you vomit?
No, surprisingly not.
Yeah, it's
I did
difficult.
sleep like a rock and spout a lot of shit though.
So I'm assuming you were drinking a dry wine.
White wine?
A lot of white wines are dry, yeah.
Yeah, like it makes your throat hurt and coarse.
Yep, that's a dry wine.
Like I had a pair with Coke, and even then it was like, it's not good. Also, don't mix your drinks, especially not if you're not proficient in it.
I was literally just having a conversation with Chris tonight about that. He keeps trying to get me to drink, but I keep telling him, because, you know, when somebody's completely drunk, they don't hear very good, even if they're a very good listener. When they're drunk, they're not. But
I don't think I want to go back to
that. Right?
Like, I don't understand how people could do that for fun.
See, I don't get that either. I don't understand why people want to get completely fucking stupid to the point of not being able to recognize the reality going on around them. And of course, you know, they nearly all say the same thing. I'm not drunk. I need another drink, okay? Can I get another drink? I'm not drunk. Don't be an asshole to me. I'm not drunk. I just want to. I got money.
I don't slur. I tell people to shut the fuck up. Like, I get a lot more ballsy.
That's the thing.
I'm not the kind of person. What?
I was always pretty quiet until I was backed into this corner by Natalie and her family. Before that, you know, I don't get me wrong. Before that, I was definitely an asshole to people where it was warranted.
Yeah.
But you know, every situation or nearly every situation that I'd been in prior to that, I could walk away from. When that situation happened, it wasn't something that I could walk away from. I mean, I literally drove 1,700 miles away from her, and I get to Boulder, and of course, I got to deal with bullshit there. So I came here to Chapel, Nebraska. I'm like, I don't want to be here. Most of these people here are racist assholes. They don't tolerate people who are different. That doesn't matter if you're physically disabled, mentally disabled, black, red, orange, yellow, green, blue. Shit, you could be purple and these people in this town would still be pissed off. Like, come on now, how many times in your life are you going to see a purple person? Pull out your cameras, for Christ's sake. Savor this moment.
That's definitely a people thing.
Yeah.
As in just hating things.
Well, I hate cruelty towards others. I hate double standards. And I hate the United States government. I hate the United States military. I hate the United States police force. And I hate the United States people at this point. It's fine if it's not happening to you. And that seems to be the mentality. It's fine as long as it's not happening to you.
I was trying to find like a chart on how the US allocates money to its military budget, but like versus the rest of the world.
Yeah, we should also look up how many opiates that we take compared to the rest of the world. We consume 79%, I believe, of the world's opiate supply.
What?
And we take 75% of the world's pills because that's how Americans fix shit. We don't actually fix things. We put on a temporary goddamn patch and call it a fix. Like, let's say a kid has Tourette syndrome and they make a funny sound. That sound doesn't hurt anybody, but people will beat that kid up for making that sound. So then they give him medications that will threaten his life and force him to have to take liver function tests every 2 weeks. 2 weeks. Like, oh my God, if the drug is that fucking dangerous, why don't you just let the dude make the sound?
It's definitely like a human thing. Humans are inherently cruel. Kindness, unfortunately, is a skill and something that you learn.
Well, I've noticed that human beings are very kind. Human beings are very good for the most part, given the proper circumstances. But it doesn't matter how good a person you are. When you're desperate, you're desperate. When you're hungry, you're hungry.
I hope the aliens come down and take over.
Well, statistically speaking, there is probably aliens. However, the chances of them being able to travel the way that we would like to travel, well, most of those aliens are going to be microbial organisms. And if there's aliens that can travel all the way across the galaxy like that, I mean, really, is Earth the podunk shithole you're really going to want to go fucking see? Sure, it's pretty, but people are fucking crazy.
Earth doesn't even appear on the intergalactic travel plan. You know how if you like go to like fancy tropical places, they tell you don't leave the hotel or like the hotel area?
I've never been outside the United States. I've never had the money for something like that, so no.
I've never, but I've thought through like shows, stupid shows like Family Guy and American Dad.
Oh my god, those shows are so fucked up. No wonder y'all got such a fucked up belief in America. American Dad, holy shit. Like, seriously. Peter Griffin and that American Dad dude, I don't even remember what his name, Stan something or other. Those are basically just
He's such a bad person.
Yeah. And this is funny to Americans. A bunch of rape jokes and a bunch of jokes about molesting kids. And oh my god, that shit's fucked up. You know, and this is jokes to Americans.
Every time I was exposed to American Dad, I always thought how much of a cunt he was.
Right? Oh my god, you actually used that word.
Yes.
Well done.
It's deserved.
Well done, sir. Well,
I would never want to be around any of those
people. Me either.
But inevitably, if you're on the internet, you get exposed to things like that.
Yep. Oh.
And I'm too curious for my own good.
I was gonna try to finish reading these. Is that alright if I do that?
Yep.
Alright. Let's see. Injustice anywhere is a threat to justice everywhere. Martin Luther King Jr. In the end, we will remember not the words of our enemies, but the silence of our friends. Martin Luther King Jr. There are times when silence becomes an accomplice to injustice. Ayaan Hirsi Ali. I chose to defend human rights because I cannot maintain my silence in the face of injustice. Chen Guangcheng. Or Chen Guangcheng. The more you answer the injustice of others, the more you heal your own soul. Julia Post. If you are silent about your pain, they'll kill you and say you enjoyed it. Zora Neale Hurston. Real love cannot be silent in the face of injustice. Mel White. Now, nearly, or actually at this point, literally every person who claimed that they would help me and never spoke up, every one of these are all saying exactly the same thing. These are some of the most prestigious human beings to ever walk the face of the planet. And some of them are also alcoholics and heroin addicts, but that's neither here or there. Let's see. I always wondered why somebody doesn't do something about that. Then I realized I was somebody. Lily Tomlin. It takes a village to raise a child, and it also takes a village to allow the abuse of one. Unknown. As you grow older, you will discover that you have two hands, one for helping yourself and one for helping others. Audrey Hepburn. The first step in the evolution of ethics is a sense of solidarity with other human beings. Albert Schweitzer. What does it mean to hold space for someone else? It means that we are willing to walk alongside another person in whatever journey they're on without judging them, making them feel adequate, trying to fix them, or trying to impact the outcome. When we hold space for other people, we open our hearts, offer unconditional support, and let go of judgment and control. Heather Platt. Remember, oppression thrives off isolation. Connection is the only thing that can save you. Remember, oppression thrives on superficiality. Honesty about your struggles is the key to your liberation. Remember, your story can help save someone's life. Your silence contributes to someone else's struggle. Speak so we can all be free. Love so we can all be liberated. The moment is now. We need you. Yolo Akili. It is precisely because of my love for humanity that I get enraged at systems that prevent people from flourishing and being free. Fuck what? You alright? Let's see. It is precisely because of my love for humanity that I get enraged at systems that prevent people from flourishing and being free. It's frustrating to see my righteous anger at unjust systems misinterpreted as hatred for individuals. Well, mine actually is hatred for individuals. See, if you do it once, I can believe that you made a mistake. When you do it twice, and it's already been brought to your attention, and you do it again, it's not a mistake, it's intentional. Anyway, it says, it's frustrating to see my righteous anger at unjust systems interpreted as hatred for individuals. But it's more frustrating to see the oppressed suffer while those maladjusted to injustice remain silent. I won't be silent. Silence is violence. Niall Ford. First they came for the socialists, and I did not speak out, for I was not a socialist. Then they came for the trade unionists, and I did not speak out, for I was not a trade unionist. Then they came for the Jews, and I did not speak out, for I was not a Jew. Then they came for me, and there was no one left to speak for me. Martin Niemöller. Have you ever wondered what you would do during the civil rights movement? Stop wondering. It is the civil rights movement. What are you doing? Chris Savage.
Niall Force one's interesting.
I like all of them.
Focus on that one because it seems to, I don't know, forget the fact that systems are made by people.
Yeah.
Could maybe interpret that as like, I always think systems are put in place by bad people, but people aren't inherently bad. Like, it's like things that you learn. Do you understand?
Kind of. We've got indoctrination. Indoctrination is a type of learning, but it's learning ignorance.
Indoctrination?
Indoctrination, yeah.
What does that word mean?
It means that you basically brainwash them. If you, for example, the Germans, when they went through Poland, they stole a lot of Polish children who had Aryan characteristics. And they were taken to Germany, and the super young ones were put into the Lebensborn program, although the Lebensborn program was very specifically the Nazi breeding program to produce blonde-haired, blue-eyed offspring. But the other ones were basically taught to be Germans, taught that they were Germans, and sent to the Hitler Youth. That's indoctrination.
Indoctrination is a very strong word.
Indoctrination is a very strong word, but what's going on here is specifically indoctrination. So using a strong word.
More like they're a byproduct of their environments and how they grew up.
Well, that's kind of a way of restating it differently, but it also has a different context to it. See, indoctrination implies that it is forced upon us, and it is. You have to think a certain way, you have to feel a certain way, and you have to be a certain way. And if you aren't a part of that cookie mold, then they will try to punish you until you fit into that cookie mold.
So, indoctrination, Google says, the process of teaching a person or group to accept a set of beliefs. If someone has a violent upbringing and they're violent and they're adulthood, they weren't necessarily taught it per se. Like, do you understand? Like, nobody told them you be violent people.
They were taught that, though.
Like, I feel like
they were taught by example.
Indoctrination specifically saying that, like specifically saying to someone, you be violent, you do that, not learn by example. I feel like that's where the two terms kind of split apart.
Yeah, people say one thing and do another. When you tell your kids something and then you do something entirely different, what you are teaching your kids is to be dishonest.
I think we'd really need to get into like the definition of it, or like really get into how the English language works there. Anyway, getting a bit political. Or I am anyway, when I'm not too bad or not too good at it.
I don't know why, but I'm actually having issues hearing you.
Despair?
That's a little bit better.
Really quickly again.
That might be it.
Slipping back into not enunciating my words.
I do the same thing. When I first had my teeth taken out, that was the worst for me.
To enunciate, you gotta like bring your speech out of your throat, and that always makes it like makes you go up a pitch, and then I just sound dead girly, very girly.
I got a question for you. Are you going to be going to sleep here shortly? Oh wait, it's 8 o'clock in the fucking morning.
It's 10:30.
Oh my god, we've been talking for a couple hours.
Oh geez, nearly 2.
Yeah.
Maybe.
I was thinking about going to the bathroom and then hopping into my treason.
Your treason?
Yeah. The big boat.
You're referencing the game?
Yeah.
Have you slept though?
About what?
Have you slept?
I did sleep just a little bit yesterday. I've been holding in, having to go to the bathroom for about 20 minutes. I'll be right back.
Okay.
All right, I'm back.
Welcome back.
By the way, thank you for Atlas. I got stuck on a loading screen most of the day, so I decided that instead of trying to get on and play, I was just going to let it do its thing. It says that I've played 37 hours in the last 3 days. It's not 37 hours. When you're stuck on a loading screen, you're stuck on a loading screen.
You really love it again.
Well, not so much. The graphics suck. It doesn't want to load up. I get stuck on a screen for 20 minutes. A lot of times, like when I go to log in, it'll take 5 minutes for it to log in. And then when it does log me in, it says that I just died.
I wish it worked better. I wish it worked better, but unfortunately, anything I could do, or any resources I would put into making it work better, would probably be better spent elsewhere.
Yeah, and anything that you might be able to do to help the situation, I don't have the skills to do, so it would probably end up fucked up anyway.
Like, if I were to help with that, it'd probably be expensive, so.
Well,
Meaning that I could give you that for something more useful.
when I get my next payment, I will probably try to get an actual desktop computer.
You got it there? You get a what?
What I have now is a laptop.
Mm-hmm.
And I'm not complaining. I'm glad I have it, and I'm glad I got it back. It was still full of evidence. The thing is, and this is just a small part of it, that without people fighting for my rights and speaking up, and not just my rights, I mean, they're going to have to take a look and speak up for human rights, because that's the whole point of this, that it's not happening to just one specific group. Right now, there's a lot of parents in the United States who are dealing with CPS and the fact that they lie a lot. There's a lot of people in the United States sitting in jail who are there because police are allowed to turn off their body cameras and lie. I don't want to be here. I literally want someone to shoot me in the head. I'm willing to dig my own hole if they're willing to do so. I even let Tim Beeson know that almost 6 months before Natalie was killed. I told him if he'd show up and keep his word, I'd dig my own hole.
America needs a lot of help with human rights. You say you say no wonder I have such a poor view of America, but like laws like not being able to give homeless blankets. Like I don't believe that there is any such law preventing us from doing that in the UK.
Well, here's the thing: is that it's
I don't
not
understand
it's
the
not
point of a
illegal.
law like that.
It's not illegal to give them blankets. It's illegal for them to use them.
I mean, I would say basically the same thing. Like it's useless either way.
Yeah, kind of like
It causes
that.
more harm than good.
That 80-something-year-old man who was arrested in Florida for feeding the homeless. They made it illegal to feed human beings. They got little fucking coin machines all over Florida, and I've never been to Florida, but I've had people send me pictures, and I've had people tell me about these stupid machines. You put the money in the machine, and you can feed the fucking ducks.
So you can feed the ducks, but not the homeless?
That's right.
Jesus Christ.
Yeah, I don't think he had nothing to do with it. You know, I've read the Bible. Most of it's pretty fucking scary, but I've read the New Testament. That's the part that's about Jesus, and yeah, this ain't a Jesus thing, not even close. Jesus was a servant to mankind first. And the reason for that is because that's what he was specifically sent here for, according to the book. He was sent as a servant to mankind, or humankind is the more politically correct term now. He was here to teach us a better way and to show us a better way. And of course, Christians don't even want to pay attention to none of that. There's all those books in the New Testament, and Christianity all comes down to 3 very badly reinterpreted pieces, very small pieces of the Bible that are taken completely out of context.
It's not just like a problem with interpreting religious texts, but also that religious texts frequently changed.
Yep. And they're also quite often contradictory.
Yeah.
Like in the South, when we got our independence from Great Britain, the South made a deal with the North. They were going to do something about slavery, but they needed to make it through the war first. And then after the war, the South was supposed to free all the slaves. And part of that agreement is the reason that Washington, D.C. is placed strategically where it's at now. Washington, D.C. stands for Washington District of Columbia. It was named after two slave owners, George Washington and Christopher Columbus. So the capital of the United States itself is, well, named after two very, very racist people. Now, between George Washington and Christopher Columbus, you know, George Washington was a heartless bastard, but in comparison with Christopher Columbus makes George Washington look like Mahatma Gandhi.
I mean, it's like I was changing my earphones. Change is good. I think, like, I feel like we have a lot of problems now, mainly because I'm doing it again. I'm merging with it. We have a lot of problems because we are unable to change. Like, we recognize history, but we can't move beyond it.
Religion could be a good thing, but
if you say Jesus made me do it,
that's what I see the most of, is people using their religion as an excuse why them committing those crimes is okay. Well, I believe in Jesus, so I'm going to heaven. Well, Jesus says you got to repent. Repenting doesn't mean that you pray right before you die. Dear Lord, I'm so sorry. I'm so sorry. No, you're not repenting at that point. You're fucking scared shitless because you're about to die and you're afraid of going to hell. For most of those people, it's just the possibility that there might be a hell. But it's not repenting, because repenting means that you tried to make an effort to make your sins right in your life. And I don't mean trying to make them right as in trying to justify your sins. I mean, make it right.
So you're on your deathbed saying, I'm sorry, but basically it's just justifying it rather than making anything right.
Right, like Alicia Bollinger, for example. All of this bullshit since 2016 was over her being a bitch in Virginia and not understanding that I literally had nowhere else to go, had no other friends in the area. Everybody that I had that I was going there to see, like Brett Roloff and Ed Simmons and Sage and Amanda Met, like I didn't get to see any of these people. I had planned on it, you know, but and then there's also Mahalia Jean-Pierre, who I was going to go rescue because she was in a fucked up situation. And I was also going to rescue Rachel, and she was in a fucked up situation. And, you know, after my first day or two there, everything with all of those other people had fallen through. The only one that I even saw was, and, you know, here's the thing about that whole situation. I mean, I needed a friend. I needed help. And, you know, I was physically too screwed up to do anything, and I was stuck in my vehicle, and I needed help. Instead of getting the help that I needed, I got victimized. And I continue to be victimized to this day. I'm tired of it. I'm not allowed to defend myself. I really, literally just want someone to shoot me in the head all the time.
By the way, I need to get at you for something.
That's all right.
Don't say something like that and then disappear for 2 hours.
And I have crippling panic attacks. You know, if I disappear for a couple hours, I'm sorry if that gives you anxiety.
At least I don't know. If I was there, I'd be able to help more, but
Yeah,
it's just I don't know.
that's the thing with nearly everybody who offered to help. They're all in other places, and a lot of these places are very far away. A lot of people that are in other countries are like, you know, you should come here, Sean. You fit in. I'm like, I can't leave the country. I'm not allowed. A lot of people say, Sean, you should just hop the border to Canada. But then again, I see how the Canadians are treating the homeless, and yeah, fuck Canada. You know, their universal health care is nice and fine and dandy, and there's a lot of other great things about our friends to the north. But the fact is that the way that the Native Americans are being treated in Canada is not any different than it is here in the United States. How the homeless are treated in Canada is not any different than it is in the United States.
Well, that's not to say don't say anything to me at all, by the way. Like, I'll be alright, obviously, but I don't know. I don't know what I'm trying to say.
Don't be honest with you because you feel it emotionally. I said, don't be honest with you because you will feel it emotionally.
No, not that at all.
All right.
Be honest, just I don't know. If you can at least make me aware that you're still okay.
Yeah, sure.
That's really the main problem there, is that it's an emotion taking fate that I can't physically or vocally, express.
You know what I
It can't
noticed?
be said, I guess.
I noticed that you didn't have the sniffles before, now you do. Is it cold out?
It's sunny but cold, yeah. Fingers are red.
All right. Yeah, you sounded like you were coming down with a cold, but then, you know, you don't have to be coming down with a cold to have the sniffles. It could just be cold outside.
I mean, it's Scotland. Like, I'm used to. I live right next to the water where the wind blows your face off, so I'm used to it.
Oh, God, you're going to die in Nebraska, but we got wind like that, too.
Yeah, I'm fully aware that I'll probably be dying in Nebraska. Like, I prefer the cold to the hot. As morbid as it sounds, I've always said I'd rather freeze than roast. Roast is the worst possible option.
I'd rather die of fire. I've nearly frozen to death on several occasions, and I'm lucky I have all my fingers and toes, but that's slow and fucking excruciating. With fire, that fire is going to burn you for a few seconds, and that's it. Especially if it's gasoline.
Does that not depend on if you lose consciousness from pain or not?
No, it doesn't matter. Your nerve endings, gasoline starts to saturate your skin immediately. So it burns down to that level, and once it gets down to that level where your nerves are, it burns off all of your nerves. And then they have to clean out the burns, and when they clean out the burns while your nerve endings are trying to grow back, that's a lot of burn victims end up committing suicide because of that. That's a pain I'm glad I've never known.
This is quite a tangent from like a very emotional conversation.
Yeah, but I'm also like completely out of it right now. I mean, I had a fucking meltdown earlier, and all these people who tell me they have to do it themselves. No, I mean it does, but it helps to have an actual conversation with a human being. I hate talking on Facebook. I hate talking in fucking YouTube, but also I need to document everything.
I think that's what I was trying to convey there. Like it kind of just clicked in my brain. I'm saying, how be as soon as possible.
Yeah.
Yes. Or like the emotion is I'm worrying about you. Call me, you know.
Well, there's a lot of other people that, you know, they kind of sort of felt the same way, but then again, they made a lot of promises they didn't keep, and it didn't bother them in the least bit that them not keeping their word resulted in a lot of harm towards me. But the worst part isn't even the harm towards me, it's the harm towards those people that I care about. The fact that they're just going to keep on dying, they're just going to keep on getting killed by the police, and people are still going to make excuses. Here in Chapel, Nebraska, people make excuses like Mexicans are all thieves and they deserve to be deported back to their own country. And, you know, we ought to go bomb the fuck out of Iraq and get rid of all them Muslims, all that sort of ignorant bullshit. I'm like, God, you guys don't want that stuff happening to you, do you? But I'm tired enough that by the time the words come out of my mouth, I've already run through 5 or 6 different other things that I'm thinking about. So I'm not even sure what it is that I'm answering to.
Are you tired now?
I am, but also it's the numbness that comes from having a fucking breakdown like that. Like, I probably won't be all right in the head for a couple of days. The other thing is, like, what I really need is some positive social interaction in real life, and I really don't get that. A lot of people are like, "Oh, well, you know, you were hanging out with that guy. You know, what do you mean it wasn't positive? You know, how's that not positive? He's such a positive guy." And I'm like, no, that's the thing is that I'm somebody who he trusts, and you're not. So I get to hear all the crazy that goes through his head when he's drunk.
Oh.
Anyway,
I've not had much experience with talking to drunk people, but it's never been fun. I don't imagine that's very positive.
Most drunk people that I know, they're not bad people. They just have oxygen deprivation because they're drunk. So they do mean and stupid shit, and they really don't have control of themselves. Yep, exactly. A lot of the stuff that people want to give me for my back, they're opiates. I can't take opiates. I also can't take Caldol, but they put that shit in me anyway. And I've told them every fucking hospital that I went to, you guys cannot put those drugs in me. You won't like me when I'm angry. If you don't want to see the green guy, don't inject me with shit.
I've never seen you angry in videos.
Well, me angry in real life is just as scary, I suppose. Maybe a little bit more scary because I'm screaming in person. But also, when I'm screaming at those videos, there's some really fucked up shit going on. When I was screaming in those videos over at Shannon's, I mean, I literally, every night, she's like, yeah, Sean, I'll help you. I'm like, well, you got to get sober because otherwise you just end up talking the whole time. And then nothing gets done.
Yeah. I understand that.
Now, I'm also going to let you know that these are Midwest farmers' daughters. They're, for the most part, ignorant. So your accent is something that they're going to latch on to. I'm going to warn you about chapel girls and many Midwest farmers' daughters across the United States. You
like,
are
make fun of me?
no. You're foreign meat. One of the reasons that small town girls like harvesters is because these girls can go out and have sex with these harvesters and then go back home and be like, I'm still a virgin. Yeah, you've broken your virginity with a harvester the last 6 years running. But yeah, sure, go ahead and keep rolling with that one. So
I'm not good with those situations, so
well,
you'll have to defend me, I guess.
I can definitely do that.
You will?
Oh yeah. I understand girls are scary. Boys are scary too. I've never been attracted to men, and I am no longer attracted to women. So it's pretty easy for me to help out someone who's in a mess up situation like that. Although I did ditch Native American woman up there in Hardin, Montana that I probably shouldn't have. Her name's Stacy King, and she had a guy that just wouldn't leave her alone and wouldn't leave her alone. And, you know, when he wanted to date her, she said, oh, well, I'm already dating that white boy. So then he called me up and was wanting to talk to me. I'm like, how the hell did you get my number? And why are you calling me?
That's kind of creepy.
Yeah. Of course, I've been people's safety dog more than once. I had a woman come into the laundromat in Boulder once, and she walked in and she saw me. I was the only dude in there, and she's like, hey, I need you to pretend you're my husband. There's some dude following me around. I need you to pretend you're my husband.
Oh, jeez.
Yeah, so here's what I did. She stuck her hand in my back pocket, and I froze. And the guy came in, and he said hello, and she said that she was with me, and we've been married, and you know, she'd really like him to respect her space. You know, she's already with somebody. And then when he left, she left, like within 10 minutes. So I'm glad I got to be of some use. That's the closest, I suppose, I've ever been to being married.
I wouldn't get married.
I won't.
What is it, like statistically 50% of people who get married end up divorcing?
Most people are stupid. They're too stupid to understand what they're entering into.
Or cannot understand or split sexual attraction to romantic attraction.
If it's love at first sight, it's bullshit and it's not love.
Relationships need to be developed over time. I always feel like the most dangerous relationships you can like garner are the ones where people click with you immediately. Because then, like, if I knew shit tons about history, I'd be able to hold a conversation with you like a lot better. But you probably wouldn't ever know anything about me if I knew you in real life. Do you understand?
I do. You're a very closed off person, and part of the reason that you were willing to extend yourself is because the thousands of miles in the internet, which is an easier way to communicate than a confrontational possibility, which is sometimes common and frequent in person to person interaction in person. There's less risk to speaking to me and getting to know me on the internet.
Not quite. More like, how do I explain that? Relationships for me is getting to know someone bit by bit, like their entire person, not just immediately latching on to what I know about a person likes. Like relationship, a lot of people think relationships are kind of just, oh, you're attracted, let's get married. But it's a lot slower than that if you want to build a decent relationship with anyone. A lot of people jump into things.
Well, I just clicked my live stream. We'll see if anybody's talked on it. No. We've been talking for 2 hours, 16 minutes, and 18 seconds.
It was what? A car passed me?
I said we've been talking for 2 hours, 16 minutes, and 29 seconds. 32 seconds, 33 seconds, 34.
Remember, how long ago was it I said that I'd get better at talking with you over time, but it would be probably very slow? I think that's the longest we've talked.
Yeah.
Maybe only by like 20 or 30 minutes, but still, some progress.
Well, I am certain that the last 20 minutes of this conversation, my brain has been completely mush. I was thinking about hopping in my trees and trying to go blow up some dolphins.
Do you want me to come in?
Yeah.
Alright.
Actually, I'll probably hop into something lower level.
What did you say?
I said, actually, I'll probably hop into something lower level. I'm probably going to hang up on you for about 5 minutes. Just because I want to fuck around with my phone for a second and plug it in a little bit better place. But I still want to be able to hear you. I don't have Disco on my computer, and I don't have Ventrilo, so this is about the easiest way to communicate with you.
I think it's ironic that I'm going to go play the pirate game, but the wind is blowing directly in my fucking face.
Yeah, just like yesterday.
Yep.
It's some slow going, ain't it? All right. Well, I'm going to hang up on you and log in real quick. And then once we're both in game, I'll probably have you call me back. Sound good?
All right.
All right.
Right. See ya.
Bye. Yeah, I still want to blow my head off. Although having a conversation with somebody who's not completely drunk it's nice. Not having my life threatened for an entire conversation, that's nice too. He doesn't really talk over me. When he does, well, it's because he's excited about something. And he noticed that I talk over him when I'm excited about something. Not all excitement is positive. Not all excitement is negative. Just excitement in general. You know, when I get to doing this with my eyes, you know, I do that when I'm scared of somebody. I also do it when I'm really excited to see somebody, when I'm really happy to see them. Also, when there's somebody who's really cool and they come up and they talk to me. I'm not talking about really cool like Arthur Fonzarelli from Happy Days. Yes, that was before my time, but I still think it's funny. Anyway, I'm forgetting what I'm talking about mid-sentence. That's how tired I am. So I figure I'm going to go plug some dolphins with my brass balls. Pirates of the Burning Sea. My favorite ship in that game is Van Horn Snow, level 12. toughest ship in the game, in my opinion. It's a level 12 ship, and it'll carry you all the way to level 21. I'd rather have sober friends in real life than be playing video games. I'd rather be dead right now. I'm never gonna get to see my loved ones. I'm never gonna get to go see the positive people in my life. You know, nearly everybody that I ever loved or trusted stabbed me in the back. Most of them I can prove it still. Most. Probably about 90%. How the disabled are treated is based on what you allow. What the homeless have to endure is based on what you allow. What you allow is based on your shitty goddamn opinions, mostly based off of goddamn bias. Shit that your parents told you that was untrue, and you just never bothered to look it up because you're a dumbass. You got the fucking devices right at your fingertips. You know how to press the fucking buttons. Like those of you ignorant assholes who want to pretend that the N-word means ignorant. No, it doesn't. It doesn't. That is specifically a racial slur. Happy fucking Christmas.